year league minimum deal. Why is he on the league minimum? Because Arizona's paying the salary. So basically anything that he would make from Minnesota would be offset by Arizona and vice versa, et cetera. So he's making nothing in terms of quarterback numbers here. Kyler Murray was introduced at a press conference in Minnesota and mentioned his head coach, Kevin O'Connell, as one of the main reasons that he signed in Minnesota.
Me and KO go back to the Elite 11 days. I remember, during the combine, I did, I had an interview with the Redskins at the time, Commanders, and he was with them, and he pulled me aside after my meeting with them. And ever since then, our relationship, he's always made sure to check in on me, whether it was after a game, things like that. So I always respected that. I always appreciated his opinion of me and the support that he's given me. So for now, getting to play for him and have that relationship with him means the world. Obviously, he's had a lot of success with quarterbacks, different quarterbacks, and he's one of the best offensive minds in the game. So I'm looking forward to going to work with him.
So Kyler Murray gets this job. It's important to note, Dan Graziano mentioned us yesterday the idea that keep an eye on that second year, whether or not he has the ability to get franchised. It is in the contract per reports. He cannot get franchised. Mm-hmm. So this is a true 1 year straight up deal. Is it a QB competition with J.J. McCarthy?
No. You think this is a quarterback competition? That no-tie clause should tell you everything you need to know. This is not a quarterback competition. They're not bringing in competition for J.J. McCarthy. This is about Kevin O'Connell trying to prove himself right because he's out of scapegoats in Minnesota. They fired Kwesi Adofo-Mensah earlier this offseason. He's gone now. So if you want to pin the quarterback controversy and the opportunity cost associated with J.J. McCarthy over the last 2 seasons on one person, that can be on the previous general manager. But everything from this moment forward is on KOC. And we're now coming up on a half a decade, and this guy still ain't won a playoff game. So for all of the pomp and circumstance around his reputation as a quarterback whisperer, they don't do a damn thing when it comes to playoff football. And Minnesota Vikings, by how they've moved this offseason, have shown you that they're in the business of trying to compete for a championship. And I got to imagine for ownership, for the Will family, it had to be a bit cringe to see what they saw with Daniel Jones the first 2 months of the season and how the Colts had an historic offense with him, and that was a quarterback that was in your building. Mm-hmm. And it had to be even worse to see your previous quarterback in Sam Darnold lead the Seattle Seahawks to a Super Bowl. These are quarterbacks that Kevin O'Connell had an opportunity to work with, had an opportunity to evaluate, and they decided as an organization they were better served with turning it over to J.J. McCarthy as opposed to running it back. Look where that got you.
It got you with Kyler Murray. And that is exactly why I don't think it's a competition either, Cece. Have you asked the question? I think it's pretty clear that J.J. McCarthy is not ready. And that's why they're bringing in Kyler Murray. He's going to be the guy. We just saw the graphics on the screen about J.J. McCarthy's output last year. Terrible. Worst in completion percentage in the league, 58%. He ranked 25th in pass yards per game, 163. Passing touchdown, 11 total. That's worse in the NFL. And his total QBR was 36, which was 24th in the NFL. This is not a competition. But it is an interesting opportunity for both parties. I'm very excited for Kyler Murray, the number 1 overall pick, who's going to a situation in Minnesota where he has probably the best personnel around him in his NFL career. He has a strong defense. He's got weapons to work with on offense. He's got a good coaching staff in the building. But he's going to be in a tough division. This is not going to be an easy thing for him to step into. But I'm excited to see someone with that much raw talent get to an environment that he's excited to be in and that they're excited to have him. And he's going to have the pieces around him to hopefully flourish. I hope we see him be consistent. And most importantly, I hope we see him be healthy. Now, on the other side of it, if this doesn't work, then Kevin O'Connell's now 2 for 2. If it doesn't work with Kyler Murray.
2 and 2.
2 and 2, excuse me. If it doesn't work with Kyler Murray and it didn't work with J.J. McCarthy, that I don't want to say it negates what happened with Sam Darnold and Kirk Cousins, but we've got more recency bias that 2 seasons in a row now, other pieces of the team were put in place, and you, as the quarterback whisperer, didn't do what you did with the 2 previous guys.
So when you look at Kyler and the Vikings, are they more likely to finish in first place in the NFC North or last place?
You could make the argument either way.
Why I asked the question.
But I am more inclined to say last, just because it is not a proven commodity with Kyler there. And to say first would require me to somehow discount what I saw out of the Bears last year with Caleb Williams taking a big step forward and Ben Johnson coming in and lighting the NFC on fire. And that's, of course, telling me to take what I know about the Green Bay Packers and tell them to take a step back, which I don't see will happen, even though you had some defections on that team from a personnel standpoint. So realistically, I know a lot of people are saying adding Kyler Murray to this equation makes them the favorite in the North and maybe the favorites in the NFC. Puts them in a conversation with the Rams as far as the team that will represent the conference in the Super Bowl. I personally am not ready to go there just yet.
First or last? Kyler Murray is more likely to lead the Vikings to first place in the NFC North or last place?
Well, it better be the former, because if it's the latter, then all of a sudden we're talking about a fifth starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings in 2027 and potentially them having to have a new head coach as well. That could be the reality of it. Now, let me say this. I think it's a really good opportunity for Kyler to change the narrative around his career, to change the perception of who he is, what he's about in the NFL. I think all of the bad in Arizona, we try to pin a ton of it on him. And there was a hell of a lot of mismanagement going on with that organization. So I'm not just going to pin it all on Kyler in terms of why, as the number one overall pick over there, he wasn't able to elevate the entire franchise and give them sustained success. Now, he does have some fault in it. Of course, him saying what he said about not being in there, grinding, studying film, not killing himself, breaking down teams, and then the study hall clause, that did him no favors. Mm-hmm. But he has a chance to turn all of that on its head if he goes out there and he has success in Minnesota. But looking at this situation, I think a lot of people are putting pressure on Kyler Murray to make the most of this situation. And I would say that Kevin O'Connell is under way more pressure to make this successful than Kyler Murray. He's going into his fifth season as the head coach in Minnesota with his fourth different starting quarterback. How is that possible for the guy that's the quote-unquote quarterback whisperer, the guy that every NFL owner would want to start his team with as their head coach? How is that even possible? If quarterback is the most important position in all of team sports, how has Kevin O'Connell not been able to stabilize that in Minnesota when we've seen guys that he's had as his starting quarterback win Super Bowls elsewhere? How is that possible? If you know so damn much about quarterback play and how to get the most out of your guys, why is it a revolving door around your quarterback room when clearly you have people that are qualified to do the job at the highest level? That makes no sense to me.
Well, they're putting it on the front office, which is why Kwesi Adofo-Mensah isn't there anymore.
Yeah, okay, we're going to put that on the front office. Fine. Is it on the front office that you passed on Bo Nix to take J.J. McCarthy? Is that all on Kwesi Adofo-Mensah? Is it all on the former general manager why you passed on Aaron Rodgers last offseason? Is it all on them that you decided to let both Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones walk out of the door? Is that all on the former general manager and you're supposed to be the foremost expert when it comes to quarterback play? I ain't buying that. And it's about damn time that people start coming around and calling it for what it is. Mm-hmm. KOC needs to have success in the postseason because right now, the game that he has in the playoffs ain't matching the name.
See, and that's funny because while I do think there's a tremendous amount of pressure on KOC, and you just outlined it really well, I look at Kyler Murray and think he's got an enormous amount of pressure on his shoulders. You were the number one overall pick. It didn't work out in Arizona, but we know the raw talent that you have. And now you're going to the best situation that you've probably been in your career. We saw Daniel Jones have success elsewhere. We certainly saw Sam Darnold have success elsewhere. We're always talking about who's going to be this next reclamation quarterback to be able to go to another destination and make it work. With what he has in place there and the talent that he possesses and the coaching that hopefully he will get, what's his excuse if he doesn't make it work?
Well, here, let me say this about Kyler Murray. A couple Pro Bowls on his resume. Kyler Murray, since he's come into the league, 153 total touchdowns to 60 picks. That's damn near 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio.
He's very talented.
Exactly. 20,000 yards passing, over 3,000 yards rushing. Like, this dude is special. He's dynamic. Now, it didn't work out in Arizona for a lot of different reasons, and I think he'll have an opportunity to show a lot better when he has more structure around him. And here's the thing. He doesn't have to worry about leading an organization in addition to playing quarterback. They have a pretty good leadership structure in place in Minnesota, player leadership and coaching leadership. This is about him more so making sure that he's not the reason that the Minnesota Vikings can't realize their full potential as a team. So I have less concern about Kyler Murray making it work. And the majority of my angst when it comes to this head coach quarterback marriage is whether or not KOC, with what Kyler Murray is bringing to the table, can get this team to where they want to go, which is contending for a division title in one of the most competitive divisions in all of football, and having success in winning a damn playoff game. I know it seems like a low bar to clear, but that should be the expectation in Minnesota this year, and there has to be some teeth, some accountability if they fall short of that bar.
Coming up, have they found the missing piece to the puzzle? We'll get into that next. We're on Sportsmanlike, presented by Progressive Insurance.
The T. Rowe Price ACC Men's